All right. So I want to work through some thoughts here. I'm not even exactly sure what all I want to say and what all I think even. Because after my last video, things have continued. You might think, I was like, well, that's enough drugs for now, Josh. You should chill. Think about things. And plus, that was my, my voice of wiseness inside, voice of reason. And then also, part of me that kind of is believing this stuff and having faith and hoping it's true was also listening, because the thing he was like, hey, just chill. The sense of divine was like, just wait until June 5th and to make your decision, which is wise advice. You don't want to make impulsive decisions to up and leave and go somewhere based on a conversation with God in the midst of a psychedelic trip. So, yeah, I'm glad I did that, but I digress. Stuff has just gotten crazier. And speak of the devil? I mean, which is a funny phrase to use in that sense. The text I just got is from a person who I've met online. See, after all this happened, I felt compelled feeling compelled to talk to people, and I've been kind of sharing my experience with people to varying degrees of success, varying degrees of how crazy people think I am. Some people are pretty accepting, like my brother, for example. He's pretty super cool about it. But my mom, she all but said, you're sounding crazy, and like your expression and tone. But one has to understand, right? Like, it does sound crazy, and people surely lose their minds this way. They describe these symptoms as mental disorders because people have problems with them that become mental disorders. But I'm pretty sure my instinct tells me that is those people erring, and I don't want to judge them. Who am I to say that it's their fault? It's just my instinct. It's just my instinct. What can I do? I'm just gonna speak the truth I feel. But I hate to say it. You want, you want people who have these things. You want to be able to feel sorry for them, I guess. But I think that's a hard lesson we all are gonna have to learn, that we have to accept our evils. They're a part of us. We can't just push it aside and say, oh, that's just a disorder. Here, take this substance, that'll make it go away. Just ignore those thoughts. Don't act on those. Those are evil. It's a part of us. We need, the Buddhists were getting it right. You need to accept your suffering, get to know it, integrate it. So, I digress again. Crazier stuff has been happening, and I meet this person online who has went through the exact same thing I did. Only she gets her intuitions. She keeps texting them, and I have to mute it because that'll not be good for the video. But she gets her intuitions from numbers, and I've read that numbers are a part of. They're related to the tarot, and I get my intuitions from imagery and from feel. It's hard to describe, and honestly, I've even been getting the message that not everything is meant to be shared. So suffice it to say, we're both going through what we feel as awakenings, and we both had never talked to each other. I just randomly came across her thing online and sent her a message, and even just reading her experience, though, it's I really want to reply to her now. It's madness. But no, I need to finish this. Even just reading the experiences that led us to these, I can't remember them right now, so you're gonna have to take my word for it, but it's all so similar. And then during the same days, the 4 days that I was doing my journey, where I then feel like I've awoken kind of sort of on the path to enlightenment. I hate saying that too, but that's the words that describe it. And I kind of cheated, right? I used drugs to shoot me up, but it's not total cheating, because clearly mean, it wouldn't happen if it wasn't able to happen. I think it's like I feel like we're chosen for a reason. Oh man, it's so much. Like I need to find a way to talk about this. Maybe I need to get past that. Maybe I need to take pride in it a bit instead of feeling shame, I guess. So interesting. I'll work on that. But again, I just wanted to point out how these crazy things are still continuing, and I don't know what to make of it. And the fact that I met this other person somewhere else who's going through the same things. Now one could argue, well, if you're both manic, would you not just enable each other? But it feels different than that. It feels quite true. So I'm going to make another video where I think I'm going to have to like write down my story essentially so that I can come on here and kind of have notes to look at, because I'm kind of losing my trains of thought, especially since Aliana is talking to me already. But that's the main point, is I just wanted to, the last video I talked a bit about my spiritual experience. Now in this one I'm saying that it's been continuing for now, I guess like 2 weeks after I've tripped, I think it has been, or between a week and 2. And now I've also met somebody else who's going through the same thing, and now the synchronicities are just off the charts. Like, and so synchronicities, things like having meaning. One could say mania, but then one could also say meaning. So I don't know. I'm just going to keep taking it with a bit of a grain of salt, but now my instinct is telling me to have faith, and I think that's an important thing too. So it should be stated that I am now kind of acting like believing. Like, I believe in this, and now it's more so I'm just still pretending that I have doubt so that I can hold myself accountable and not let myself, not let things get too crazy. Like, you still should have a voice of reason, I believe. But I think faith is also important. So yeah, I'll be back. I'll say more things later. Farewell, universe.